Welcome to the Detailer's Dock, anchoring you in the world of marine detailing. Whether you're a seasoned detailer or just starting out, this is where every detail matters, with your host, Captain Ken Mercer from Marine Detail Supply Company.
Hey everyone, welcome to the next episode of the Detailer's Dock. And what we have with us today is Hannah WavyGirl. She is one of the most influential female marine detailers throughout the industry so far. So, or at least from what we have noticed here at the headquarters with Marine Detail Supply, there's a lot of wonderful women that are within the industry, in the marine detailing industry, and we would love to have them all on. So if you're out there listening, and you want to basically express your voice out there to all the men that are out there, ladies, feel free to come on. But that's one reason why we have Hannah on here today. So Hannah, if you don't mind, like, kind of tell everybody who you are, where you're at, and kind of how you got started in marine detailing out of all industries.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm Hannah. I started WavyGirl Detailing about 3 years ago. I'm just coming up on my third year. I'm based out of St. Pete, Florida. I'm anywhere from Tampa to Newport Richey, Tarpon Springs, Sarasota, Bradenton, all those areas. I love the area, actually. It's a pretty unsaturated line of work, but there's plenty of boats out here. So I actually started, I wanted to make myself useful to the boating industry. I loved anything oceanic, fishing, boating, all that. So I pretty much wanted to make myself useful for it. So I was like, how do I do that? And I was like, well, I guess I could start with detailing. So I built the business online, quit my job, and just dove in. Learned everything on the way. And I learned something new every day. But then I got certified through Stark, and it's just
Oh
been up from
boy.
there.
So what did you do before marine detailing? So you said you quit your job. What were you doing?
Yeah. So I was actually bartending for about 7 years. And then I was also working secretarial for a CPA, a tax office. I'm sitting behind a computer desk all day and it wasn't hands on. And I was just like, man, I gotta do something with my niche. I gotta do some gel coat. I gotta start polishing something, put my hands on something and see instant results. So
So what led you to that? I know that you talk about that you're pretty heavily into the fishing world, but what made you go to the marine, like to put up a rotary in your hand and get after it?
my dad used to be on my butt pretty heavy about keeping his boat clean. So
Okay.
I had a little bit of experience with that, but then I started noticing, I mean, there's so many boats out here that are beautiful boats that people just let go to waste. And I figured,
Right.
I'm like, how can we make them back shiny and protect them and stuff? And it's just very satisfying. I always liked cleaning, but then when I took it a step further into actually correcting gel coat, I just loved it. I don't know. I didn't think I would like it, and I didn't think that it would, be this long of a thing for me, but I ended up loving it, and now I'm addicted. I'm a gel coat nerd.
That's crazy. Do you remember the first boat that you detailed as a business owner?
I do
All right,
actually.
take me through that one.
It's actually funny. It was my friend who was a fellow bartender. Her parents just tested me out. They trusted me, and I showed up shaking in my boots. I didn't know what I was doing, but I showed up, and I was so scared that I would mess up these people's boat. And it actually went very well. I had watched so many videos before that.
Hmm.
It turned out immaculate. And I'm like, hey, I think I can do this. And it's funny you ask because I just redetailed it about a month ago. And they had it repainted and everything, but the inside was still looking good. I'm like, wow, it's pretty
Nice.
impressive. I didn't know what I was doing, and it worked out.
Nice, nice. I'm getting a sense that you went to YouTube University.
hmm Absolutely. I kind of faked it until I semi made it,
Well,
until
well,
before the Stark certification.
I'm curious, like, did you ever watch any of Michael's videos? Because I know that you're a big avid visitor of Marine Detail Supply in Tampa, right? That's pretty much your home base where you walk in every single day, or not every day. We'd like
Oh
it if it
yeah,
was every single day that you were spending money there, but that means you're making a lot of money as well. But like, I know
it
that
feels like
Michael,
it.
right?
I'm there all the time. I spend rent money on on Stark products. I'm like, here,
Yeah.
take my money because I know I'll make it back. So
Yeah, because
it's good
I know
stuff.
that there's a lot of people that are out there that has found a lot of value from the videos that Michael has created that's online, really taking people through a process that's going to help them be successful. And we've been blessed to have a lot of other influencers that are out there that share the same love and passion as you do that will go on YouTube and really share that information. Hopefully people gain information and create detailers such as yourself. And that's one reason, as well as like why we do it. We have two separate ones here as well. We have the Marine Detail Supply Company one. We also help manage a Stark YouTube channel. I'm aware that I think Noah in South Carolina is about to launch his own. And we really encourage that because I bring this up all the time on all these podcasts. It's like we're not a big fan of people that are out there that are trying to gatekeep, lack for a better term,
Hmm.
right? Like not show people information. And like I think you would agree. You've reached out to us at the headquarters many times with questions, and vice versa. You can bounce it off just about anybody that's within the network alone,
Hmm.
right? We're definitely all here to really try to share that information. So for those of you out there, like, don't think that you can't gain a lot of good information on YouTube because here you go. Here's a young lady that has made a career out of it that really had no experience prior to that. Is essentially what you're
Yeah.
telling me, right?
None at all, actually. And you guys have been awesome, especially you, Ken. I got to shout you out
Yeah.
because I mean, I've bothered you with so many questions and you were
Yeah.
always right there. You always called me right back. You walked
Yeah.
me through whatever process I had questions, the learning
Yeah.
curves I had. You've
Yeah.
always been helpful. Michael, I actually found his videos. That's how I discovered Marine Detail Supply, as I found
Nice.
Michael's videos first. So, yeah, those videos are super helpful. All of the podcast is really helpful too because you talk about a lot of topics that may be overlooked by a lot of detailers.
Yeah.
Like I said, so being self-taught for the first 2 years, I basically kind of jumped over a lot of certain like very valuable information, and I didn't really know how to find that because I didn't have guidance. So if
Right.
there wasn't a YouTube video for it, it was something that I was just kind of winging. So I found when I actually got certified, there were so many in-betweener questions that I never had answered that were
Right.
answered through the certification. So that was awesome. So you guys have been super helpful with that.
Yeah, no, we appreciate those compliments there, and that's what we, as a company, as a brand, we aim to deliver the best customer service throughout the industry that we can, and we're trying to stand tall with that and keep that going. And we've got some more cool stuff coming, but let's continue on to a little bit more about Hannah. So let's be honest, you're in a male dominated profession, right?
Absolutely.
So, as a female that's within a male dominant profession, like what kind of challenges do you face, or what do you think maybe are some of the advantages?
So I'll tell you actually the advantages first. I've had a lot of clients actually tell me that they have found me and hired me specifically because, no offense to men, but they say that women tend to have a better attention to detail.
Hmm.
And I've worked with personally, I've hired on a lot of other detailers, a lot of people in the industry, and a lot of the men that I have worked with, a lot of just people in general, they forget the tiny little details, like inside the compartment lip. Once you're
Hmm.
done detailing any dust that may get in it, like the tiny little things.
Yeah.
The client always realizes they go straight to the tiny little things and they notice those things. So I have had compliments that I did have the advantage of being a woman for that. They say that women are good at cleaning.
Yeah.
But some disadvantages is when I came into actually pricing. Pricing was really rough on me for the first little while because when I introduced a price to somebody, they would try to talk me down. They would try to kind of little man me like I didn't really know what I was talking about. Just being
Yeah.
a woman, naturally they expect a woman to be on a desk or on the phone or something. But when you're out here doing it, they really watch to see what you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit more pressure because I feel like maybe where they don't believe in us as much, the physical aspect of it, because detailing by any means, anyone who's ever detailed a boat, they know it's not easy. We're
Yeah.
out here, and I have nails. We're out here breaking our nails. We're out here breaking our nails, sweating. My skin's getting burnt, sunburnt. It's not glamorous. So
Right.
they look at women and they're like, "Are you sure you're up for this?" So they do doubt you at first.
Yeah. Oh, well, I will piggyback on the first thing that you brought up is about women being more attentive to detail. And I can tell you that I bring up OEMs a lot too. And believe it or not, a lot of OEMs have a lot of females in their finishing department
Hmm.
for that particular reason.
They have the eyes.
I mean, yeah, I guess you can call it that. can't remember the manufacturer too, and I was watching a YouTube video on it, and I'm always trying to educate myself, just like everybody out there, to be able to deliver the best information possible. But like this OEM, and it was in Europe too, and 70% of their workforce were females, yeah, it's crazy, and that was kind of what the CEO even kind of brought up, is the women pay that little extra attention,
Hmm.
and it just sometimes deliver the better results. So I totally agree with that. As for pricing, I'm sure, and maybe there's some validity to that, but I would tell you the men struggle with that too.
Oh, it's a very
Especially,
difficult part of the industry. Yeah.
so who I think struggles with it the most, and maybe you'll agree when I say it, is just people that are new. Just because their
Hmm.
confidence level
Hmm.
maybe not
Yeah.
as sharp, you're unsure about if you're pricing it correctly, and then
Hmm.
your book of business isn't full, right?
Hmm.
Let's take in mind, like when you first got started, you weren't booked out 2 months ahead of
Hmm.
time, right?
Hmm.
So you had to be a little bit more selective. But now with building up your business, you can be a lot more selective in it and be like, this is my price. I mean, if you don't want to pay it, you're not my customer. And
Yeah,
that's something that I would really want to emphasize to detailers out there is, know your value. And
absolutely.
don't discount yourself. If there's a particular budget that the customer has to work with, and you're willing to accept something within that budget, I would say give them their money's worth. Don't
Oh,
give
absolutely.
them $3,000 worth of work for 2 grand. You know what I mean?
Well, I've done that a lot of times starting out. I was really underpriced than a lot of people because of the confidence level, like you said.
Yeah,
But as I grew the confidence, and I tell them, a lot of people, they know my prices aren't the best because
yeah,
I've spent the time that it took, and I've failed with pricing before where I've cut
yeah.
myself short, and I learned not to do that. So now when I'm very confident in my price, they almost don't question it, because
Hmm.
if you know that you're capable of providing a certain service at a certain level, then you kind of know that if a client's going to look at it like, oh, per foot, what do you mean a foot's this big? Well, there's also width, there's height, there's, it could take 3 days, it could take 5 days, it could take a day with two people on. They don't really know. But I actually kind of learned the transit. I kind of see it now better because I actually just started my brother off detailing, and we're working on my price. Yeah, yeah, he's awesome. He just got in the game and he's already killing it. So his pricing point, I told him what I started at. Believe it or not, I will say I started out at $10 a foot in the beginning. Then it went to 15, then it went to 20, 25, and it just kept going. So
Yeah,
now he's starting out a lot higher than where I started out, and
sure.
he's finding the whole confidence thing. If you're telling a client in a questionable way, like, "Oh, would $25 be okay if you think this and that?" No. You got to let them know, "Hey, this X, Y, and Z, these are my prices, and if you don't like it, you're not my client. If you don't like it, respectfully, I can refer you to somebody else that may have better pricing." But we don't have the best pricing because the time that it takes us and what we actually put into your boat, the clients don't see what happens behind the closed doors. They don't see all the effort you put into it. So they may try
Yeah,
to belittle you, but hey, remember, this could take 5 days, and I'm going to not leave until your boat is perfection. So I can
yeah,
guarantee you that. So
yeah.
it's just, yeah, like you said, it's the confidence thing for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's a hard thing for people to get over. And once you're able to, get to that point, then that's when you're going to start seeing the money come in, and such like that. Nobody can teach you to get over that. You got to get over it on your
Yep.
own. You know what I mean?
It's
And
pretty scary too.
it is, and repetition is going to be the thing that's definitely going to get you through it. So let's talk about, take me through maybe like the most challenging boat that you've ever dealt with.
I'm
If
so
you don't,
glad you're bringing this up because I just called you about it the other day. I just called you about it the other day to ask questions on it this year, because
it's
we
that
all
one,
have
huh?
that nightmare. We all have that nightmare boat.
Okay. Okay.
And I will tell you, as you guys know, that all of the gel coats from different makes and model, they definitely perform differently.
Yeah.
Um, Contender, my favorite boat. However, the gel coat sometimes it's really finicky. That blue Contender that I told you, it was a deep
Hmm.
navy blue Contender.
Yeah.
The issue that I was facing on that was I brought it down to sanding. This is back 2 years ago when I first started sanding. So I brought it down. I did like a 600th, and I did an 800th, and I did 1,000. I followed it up with Level R, Elevate, and I did all the steps. So
Yeah.
I got to about the fourth step, and I was getting severe DA haze. I
Yeah.
could not get rid of the DA haze, but also I was learning that I couldn't finish off with a rotary. I had to finish off with a polish, a DA or forced rotation to, correct those tiny micro scratches.
Yeah.
And it just would not work. And now I'm actually about to go face the same boat
Hmm.
after being certified, learning what I have. And I let him know now we have a lot more different options with different pads, different products. You guys have come out with blades and Finish R and such.
Yep.
So
Yep.
there's a multitude of products to correct that. But back then I had no idea. I had to leave it with a DA haze because every time I would jump from a rotary to a polisher, it would leave a fogginess. It like
Hmm.
a very uneven surface, no matter how much I polished it. So
Yep.
that was a nightmare boat for sure.
Yep.
Excuse me.
Yep. Yep. Well, hopefully some of those tips that I shared with you, I'm looking forward to the feedback on it. We can't
Hmm.
let that cat out of the bag just yet for everybody to have that
Hmm.
information, which we will share it when we get more and more information that what we have came up with is working. But
Hmm.
I look forward to hearing the feedback on that one.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're going to get that result, but I'll be excited to have you back on and potentially share those results with
Yeah,
everyone. Right?
absolutely. I won't stop until I find them too. So this boat, luckily it's a friend of mine. So no matter what happens, we're gonna get it right.
Yeah. Did you ceramic coat that one?
No, I didn't actually. I didn't ceramic coat that one.
You don't like that friend that much, then, huh?
Yeah, no,
No, I'm just kidding.
after
That's funny.
after actually the nightmare that I went through with the boat, everything I was experiencing, it ended up taking like 2 weeks to try to perfect it, and I gave up on it. This was my first year detailing, so I did
Right.
let that one defeat me, and it's nudging at my my gut for this whole time. I'm like, man, I gotta go get that boat right. I gotta go perfect that because it's just my OCD just doesn't sit well with me leaving a boat that is not perfection for any client, whether they're my friend or not. So we're gonna get back on that horse and try that boat again. He's ready for another detail. So
Nice, nice. So, what talk me through about your comfort level of running a rotary?
at first, I was pretty scared. When like I told you, the first job that I did, I was pretty unsure of if it would burn through, if it would create really deep scratches that I couldn't get out. But I will tell you, with the certification, it actually helped a lot because I personally have never burned through gel coat real
Hmm.
bad. I've noticed where gel coat has been thinning with the little blue dots and such in different areas, but in the Stark certification, you guys showed me you took that platform, the fiberglass piece,
Oh,
and you
that
guys
board,
hit it with you hit it with the rotary,
320.
and
No,
I
no, no.
took
Yeah, yeah, with the root. Sorry. Yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, it took like a full like a minute. It took like 50 seconds to get down and actually burn through it. So, but that actually boosted my confidence in knowing. And after that, I noticed, I just like I train my detailers. You can't run it at a high speed on anything dry or for too long. You can't hold it too long in one area. You have to stay steady pace and steady, positioning with your wrists and just keep it moving. So once I learned that it's not that easy to burn through gel coat, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with it. It's just the only areas is if it's near. I tape everything off, so I always tape off edges and such, just so that it doesn't hit any sea deck, the sea foam and stuff. So I mean, you just can't have it around certain areas. Fuel lines. You got to use the smaller ones around the fuel lines because you
Right.
don't want to rip, damage anyone's boat. So
Yeah,
pretty confident with it.
that can get a little costly, right?
Mhm.
Have you had to claim any insurance claim since you've been in business for 2 years?
No, actually, I have not used my insurance at all whatsoever, and if I've never really damaged a boat, luckily, thank God I
You
haven't,
better
because I
find
wouldn't be
some
able to
wood.
sleep at night if I did.
Yeah,
What do you mean
yeah.
find some wood?
Knock on wood. Yeah,
Gosh,
yeah.
God got me. God
Yeah,
got me.
yeah. Definitely knock on wood on that. So I did hear that you said you have employees, right? How many do you have
Mhm.
currently that working with you?
Right now, I have technically four, but I have one who is with me every day. I have two girls that can come and help me with cleanings and such. They haven't really stepped into the gel coat correction phases yet, but
Okay.
they help me with cleaning, simple washes, and stuff like that. So, yeah, right
So
now I have four.
only in business roughly what, 2 or 3 years is what you said?
Hmm.
Okay,
Coming up on
so
the third year.
coming up on the third year. So when did you decide to hire? And then what took you to that point to be like, you know what? It's time to bring somebody on.
So when I started the first 2 years, I was an animal. Like when I tell you I worked 7 days a week, I couldn't rest and take a single day off. I worked from 7 a.m. to damn near 7 p.m. Like I was an animal and I started getting really burnt out. I started hurting myself a lot and mentally was just not focused and I was just lacking sleep. And I was like, dude, I gotta have help. I can't. I'm only one person. When you have clients calling your phone as you're working on a boat, you have people that need invoices sent to them. You have people that want to settle payment. You have people trying to book. It's so much going on that I was just like, dude, I can't do this just being a one man band. So I hired somebody on. Um, he was great. He was a car detailer. We shifted him into the marine industry. He did
How'd
well,
you find
but
him?
he had to move on.
How'd you find him?
He found me. He saw my business and he was like, "Hey, I work for X, Y, and Z, and I do all the car stuff, but I'm looking to move in the marine industry. Would you
Hmm.
train me and whatnot?" He came on board. It was good for a little while, until some things kind of shifted and he had to go do something else. So I've been through, I think, three people before I found my crew. So people would be on for a little while, and either they went off to start their own business or they, just moved away. I had actually Nate from Marine Detail in
Yep.
Charleston,
I remember
my
Nate. Yep.
favorite detailer ever. He was awesome. But yeah, he had to move back up. Otherwise, he'd still be hopefully down here with me if he was here. But yeah, we've been through a couple people, and detailing's not for everybody. I gotta
No.
say, some people that I have worked with, they don't get it. They're not really into it, and if you don't like what you're doing, you're not gonna last in this industry. You really have to love it to be out here doing this kind of work in these conditions.
Yeah, I always bring up that P word called passion when
Hmm.
it comes to detailing, whether you're doing marine or automotive. I mean, for you to be successful, you got to have passion for it. Like you can only fake it for so long, right? And
Absolutely.
you always see the ones that are faking it because those are the ones that fall or don't do what it takes to, like you did. Not to say that everyone has to work 12 hours a day, right? But I think when you made that step, I'm assuming that made you stronger, right? And somebody that
Hmm.
truthfully doesn't have passion for what they're doing isn't going to put that amount of time into it, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, no, it always falls on passion for me.
Oh yeah. I've had countless temper tantrums where a boat wasn't cooperating. I
Oh
couldn't get
God,
something to happen. I mean, you can ask my detailer now, poor thing. I put him through it every now and then when I have a deadline or something and we got to get something done. Yeah, it's not easy. I actually kind of went into heat stroke one time. It was like 96 degrees out. Mind you, we're in Florida and it's
right.
brutal out here. With like 96 degrees, I started shaking. I got shivers, I like goosebumps, and it wasn't good. So there's a lot that can set you back in this industry. So you definitely have to have that passion to push through it.
So
And it's
for
good
some,
money. We
yeah,
can't lie, it's good money. That's
it
also
it is when you're good and you're doing things right. Yes.
when you protect
There's
your reputation and
yeah
yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of people that are out there that can do better.
Yep, absolutely. I've always been like I said, there's so many people that I look up to in the industry and I'm like, man, I really want to get to that level. And
Yeah.
it's definitely there's always something new you can learn too. I don't care if you've been in this industry 20 years, you can learn something new every single day.
Well, that's a fact. I mean, especially how technology's been changing with pads and polishes and
Oh
machines
yeah.
and everything like that. Things are, definitely getting faster and easier and better results. So you
Hmm.
always have to be open minded. There's still people that are out there still running 3M. So that's
Oh
what,
my gosh. Don't tell me. Sometimes I look at other detailers at marinas and I'm like, oh my gosh, who hired you? Oh no.
uh, it
Here, let
feels,
me just whisper in your ear a little secret. Don't set your rotary face down on the ground. Let's
oh,
start there. Like, it's things that you think would be common
yeah,
sense, but they're
yeah.
out here, and it's a mess.
Oh,
I
craziness.
have
So go
I
ahead.
knew people that were selling ceramic coating on top of washes. They were doing simple washes and just going in with a coating. No
Really
prep work, no nothing. And I'm like, so you
interesting.
definitely have to be careful who you hire to work on your boat.
Interesting. So, like again, how did you find those people, or how would say somebody contacts you right after
Hmm.
this podcast, and they're like, Anna, I want to grow my employees too. How did you find them, or how would you go about finding new employees to represent your business?
So I had quite a large friend group. I've been to different schools and stuff, so I know a lot of people in my area.
Yeah.
But I kind of just Did everything on my own until someone got my attention, where I see them being a hard worker, where I see them, at least trying to dabble into the industry or, trying to, you can see the hunger. You can see the hunger in people when they really want to strive for excellence. And I've had a couple people come to me, quite a few people come to me that I'm like, okay, yeah, absolutely. I'll, think of you next time I need help or, something in the back of my mind. I'm like, some people, I don't mean to judge, but some people, it's kind of like, I don't really want to risk training you and either you go start your own business or some people I just don't see really cut out for it and they're like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing, but please train me. But that's where I started. Actually, I knew somebody that was a detailer and I begged him. I messaged him like every other day and I'm like, yo, put me on, let me detail with you. And finally he gave me a shot. I did one day and then I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to work with you anymore and I want to do something else. So I wouldn't hate somebody for doing that, but it is hard to find people because you're going to go through a couple people before you find the right candidate who's going to be there for you, at least 5 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week. Some people have their schedule all over the place where they can only offer 2 days or they don't have transportation or anything like that. So I just kind of waited until I saw someone that was just like me, as eager to learn as I was,
Hmm.
and I've given a couple people a shot. My detailer now, he's awesome. He actually had some experience before he got to me, but he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, I know that you know some of these other detailers, you've worked with them and whatnot, but I love your business and I love, it seems like you're always busy and I really have a passion for it. So give me a shot." And I did, and he's been great ever since. So it's just kind of a hit or miss thing. You got to keep your eyes open and see people that are really driven.
So, what's your training process when you bring on a new employee?
So I pretty much the pay varies obviously with experience and whatnot.
Yeah.
I won't leave a detailer on a job by themselves, at least for the first 2, 3 months, because my name is on every boat that we touch. So I can't send a detailer out, even if I know they're a great detailer, I can't send them out right away and say, hey, complete this boat and then present it to a client when I don't know if they got all the rear compartments. What if they missed the compartment? What if there's some rust on a metal or something? So I am present at every job. Basically the entire time. Now my detailer is gonna, he's great. I kind of let him alone for, a couple hours at a time and I'll go back and check and everything. But I definitely make sure that everything is A1 before I sign off on it. So we just kind of work with them at their own speed, you know. Some excel a lot faster than others. I have him ceramic coating right now as we speak. He's out on the hall ceramic coating. So he just actually got into ceramic coating not long ago, and I watched him very closely, and he's really good at watching it, waiting for it to flash, and very attention to detail. So
Nice. Nice.
we let him do his thing.
When you or have you ever just simply let them do a job on their own and then without you being present, do you just release it to the customer or are you making sure that every
No,
single job you're there before you sign off on it and go, yes, this is done right? So
there
in
has
person.
not, yeah, there has not been a single boat in the history of Wavy Girl that has been sent off to a client without me laying eyes on it. Absolutely not. And I don't know if there will be because I mean, I am actually expanding and I want to have different teams that I can trust to go out and do it and watch and whatnot. But as of now, I like to lay eyes at first, I like to talk to the client and be personable with them and let them know my concern areas for their boat versus their concern areas, what services they want, if they want particular attention put on certain areas. So once I have that personability with them, I'd like to go back over and make sure all those things are done and taken care of. So I won't sign off on a boat without sending it out. No, absolutely not.
Nice.
So,
No, I think that's the right move. Do you use like any kind of like booking software to manage your books or your schedule or how do you manage your
yeah,
schedule?
I use Outlook. Outlook for everything. That's actually what I was using when I was working for the CPA. So it works great. It does calendar, it does your email and all that such. I use QuickBooks for invoices, stuff like that. So, and then my bank works with me for payroll and such for my employees. So yeah, Outlook and QuickBooks. Those are really good.
Nice, nice. So I see that you're on a pretty snazzy looking boat there behind you. If you wouldn't mind
Hmm.
kind of giving me a
Yeah.
little history or story on that, because you were kind of talking about it there before we started the podcast, right? So that's
Yeah,
what kind of boat
absolutely.
is it?
This is a 35-foot statement. It was custom built for an officer who served in the 9/11 attack. So the whole boat is custom. Everything is custom painted on the exterior. He has the city lineup, and then he's got the flag in the front. He has his badge actually engraved into the center console compartment up here. So, I mean, it's a pretty sick boat, yeah. And
That's
they started as clients, their whole family, they're family to me now. So, they started as clients, went to friends, and now we're just locked in like family. So we're here going over different areas and re-cleaning it and such and relaying ceramic. So,
So let's talk about services a little bit. So I'm assuming you do maintenance services, right? So like maintenance washes,
mhm.
right? So I mean, are you generally just having somebody reach out to you and that's how you pursue a maintenance wash, or are they potentially a restoration that you turn into a maintenance service, or
Usually it
both?
starts like that. Yeah,
Okay.
usually it starts like that. Some people inquire about simple washes and such like that. So my full detail is completely different than a simple wash, and I let people know that up front. What I recommend to them is that we complete a full detail first. And then if they're good clients and they enjoy our services, then we keep it going. And I let them know, hey, I have a monthly service, I have a quarterly, I have twice yearly, just depending on the usage of your boat. I have to be honest with you, right now, I don't have a lot of time for simple washes, but
Hmm.
sometimes, with my ceramic clients, I definitely offer that to them because I have some of these gorgeous boats out here, Invincibles and Freemans and such that someone's got to keep up with our hard work, and we want it to maintain it, so and perform. So as you know, there's a lot of maintenance that is correct versus incorrect with ceramic coating. So I do offer it to my ceramic coating clients. But if somebody just messages me and say hey, I just want a simple wash, nothing more. If I can fit it in, I do, but it's kind of rare. So we usually focus on restoration, ceramic coating, gel coat correction, such like that. But maintenance clients are the ceramic clients, yes.
So what would you say that your full detail is different than your maintenance wash? So like if you wouldn't mind, like
Yeah,
talk me through it. What's your full detail then? If
yeah,
somebody's
absolutely. So actually, mine's a little different. My full detail package does not include actually a heavy cut polish. It only includes all the compartment cleaning, head area. I do the non-skid, C deck. I do motors, underside yellowing. I do rust removal, mold removal, deep vinyl cleaning and conditioning. We do a salt spot removal system on the hard top, the glass. We do metal polishing. Pretty much really anything the boat needs other than the correction phase. So then I charge per foot per step. If we're going to
right.
do, a two-step with just a heavy cut and a polish and a polymer, that's one. And then if we're doing a ceramic coating, the price definitely jumps with the correction and everything like that. So I charge on top of my full detail package. The simple wash is pretty much just a salt spot removal system, bath and dry. And I kind of touch up, like I said, these are already my ceramic clients. So I kind of touch up here and there what the boat needs. If a certain vinyl has gotten damaged or whatnot, if we're, rub marks and such, we'll do a little more extensive cleaning. But it's typically just a bath and dry for a simple wash.
Gotcha. So on a percentage, are you doing more polymer sealant or are you doing more ceramic coating jobs these days when you're doing a full resto?
Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly, it's more often ceramic coating. Ever since I kind of dove into the ceramic coating, and especially since I got certified, I recommend it to not every client because some of the clients they're very, they're worried about their budget, and they're also, there's some of these boats are a lot older. I don't touch the older boats anymore, but certain boats, they're just not looking for that. Some of them are charter captains fishing, and they just don't want to do the whole ceramic thing. I think it's a great idea, so I recommend
I
it
think
to.
they need it more than everybody.
Personally, yeah, they do, but a lot of them, a lot of these captains are out here beating their boat no matter what
Yep.
I tell them. They're
Yep.
beating their boat with bleach and hard scrubbers on. I had a ceramic client, for instance, that he's not even a heavy fisherman. And I did a beautiful ceramic coating on his Tidewater, all black Tidewater, right? I come back 8 months later and there were scratches all over it. The
Oh boy.
ceramic wasn't performing that great. And I'm like, this is not the products that I'm using or our work. What are you doing to your boat? Come to find out, he was using Dawn dish detergent and
Mm.
a deck yellow scrub brush to brush his tow rail, all of the gunnels, everything, just scratches all over it. And no matter what you tell them, sometimes they're going to beat up their boat with soft scrub, Dawn, bleach, all of those abrasive, harmful chemicals and stuff. So
Did you end up
it's
fixing that or just gave him
I
some
did.
education?
No, I let them know and I said, hey, I'll give you a discounted rate, even though I told you, I let you know what, I even hook up my clients with a marine detail bucket, Stark bucket. So I give them the products so that when I'm not there to do a simple wash or if they want to do one in between, they have the right stuff to use. But yeah, so I mean, as long as they're maintaining it with the right stuff. But yeah, I did redo his boat. Yeah, I told him, I'm like, look, I'm throwing this Dawn away. I'm throwing all of the stuff off your boat. These are your new products. I'm not going to fix it again.
Yeah.
But
No, and I think what you're doing is a best practice too. I think more detailers should really make sure that they implement that into like their ceramic coating jobs, right?
Mhm.
Like make sure that that customer has the proper material, whatever brand you choose out there. Make sure
Mhm.
it's the right proper material that you're giving them. So when you leave, they have the right tools to maintain that, right? Because at the end
Mhm.
of the day, it kind of does have your name on it, right?
Ab-
It's funny that you bring up that brush. I think that's just so overlooked. I think I brought it up on 3 or 4 of the podcasts already, but like, when you guys and gals are out there performing restoration services, ceramic coatings, waxes, sealants, like we need to do our due diligence and ask the customer how they're washing their boat and
mhm.
what they're washing their boat with, because again, I've said it. I've seen people put a white bristle brush on the side of a hull, never mind yellow. You know what I
Makes my
mean?
skin
So
crawl. It's like nails on a chalkboard.
yeah, I mean, so we've got to make sure that if we're gonna perform the service, we need to educate that customer too. And I think
Mhm.
again, to reiterate, a ceramic coating customer, if you're using a Stark lineup, should get some Venom, some Replenish, and some Pure Clean at least.
That's exactly
Just
what I set them up with.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, that right there will take care of making sure they're using the right soap, topping the ceramic every third wash, and then if it gets contaminated, right, you're using the venom
Yes.
to strip
It's
it
the
without
contamination. Yeah.
without etching the gel coat. Because like, I think the number one complaint for people that get their boat ceramic coated is a week or two later, sometimes a day later, depending on the contamination in the water, right below that water line, right?
The
It'll
scum
be
line.
flat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they'll be like, oh, my coating's not working anymore. Well, did you try washing it first?
You made a video on that too. I
I
remember you made
know.
a video and it
Yeah,
definitely the gel coat is so porous that yeah, when it's get contaminated with the seaweed stuff and the salt molecules and everything,
yeah,
if you're not properly washing it with that venom, it's night and day when you use the venom on it. But
yeah.
yeah, it's also difficult to talk to a lot of the clients where I find a lot of my clients are very busy. A lot of them I don't even meet them in person. I would say the majority of them I don't actually meet them in person. It's over the
Interesting.
phone. They may be calling from another state and this is their boats down here and people are very busy with their work lives. So trying to explain to somebody who doesn't care about these things and they just want their boat to look good, but they don't want to actually do the maintenance is kind of hard. You kind of got to beat them over the head with it a little bit like, hey,
Hmm.
please, I can't stress this enough. Do not use these chemicals. And then they still go back and use them sometimes because they're like, oh, well, whatever, it's not going to damage you too bad. And then God forbid it comes back on my name, Wavy Girl Detailing, because your ceramic's not, performing the way that it should, and it does when you properly maintain it. So yeah, definitely that venom and non-abrasive wash mitts. Like I actually sell buckets at retail price
Nice.
with your guys' products and wash mitt, a safe wash mitt, safe drying towel, such like that, so that they're already prepared. And if it fails in a certain area, then we know that there was something, that happened. And I do touch ups for some of my
Sure.
clients as needed, but you shouldn't have extreme difficulties with the ceramic. I mean, the ceramic's amazing stuff. And if it's installed correctly and maintained properly, you're definitely going to get 2 years minimum out of it. So,
Yeah. So how?
and you
So
can
what's?
tell if they don't.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. What's your pitch? Like, how do you talk customers or talk them into getting a ceramic coating over a polymer sealant?
So I basically let them know that, you have to use some type of protection. I let them know that the Hyperhold Pro is, UV protectant. It's great stuff. I recommend that replace it every 4 to 6 months, 3 to 6 months. It just depends on the usage. But I let them know that the best protection that they can possibly have for their boat is a double layer Stark ceramic. I mean, the hydrobility, it's so hydrophobic, the
Yeah.
durability, the performance of it, the salt molecules, I see it, just wash right away. And I've actually had videos of a before and after where you take a video of a surface wet versus after it's ceramic coated and the water. They see that water beat up and they're like, yep, that, give me that. Here's my money. And they usually don't disagree with me because I let them know it's very important. You protect your investment and you don't want to have oxidation because once you get that oxidation, coming back from that, you're going to pay more and coming back from that. So you're spending the money now, getting your ceramic coating, giving the best protection. And we're in Florida. The UV rays are crazy. So it is honestly the best protection. And I show them videos and they're like, okay, that works for me. But some people, they're like, hey, I can't afford that right now, or
Yeah. It
I
ain't
I
it
use
ain't
it too
cheap.
much and stuff. Yeah, it's not. No, it's really not. Because the prep work that goes into it, along with the pricing of ceramic and stuff, it's not cheap, but it's good stuff. If they're using cheap stuff on your boat, it's not good. You got to sacrifice somewhere. So,
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I think another thing too that's overlooked is the chemical resistant side of it too. Is if somebody has to use a little bit harsher chemical to remove a stain or something like that,
mhm,
the ceramic coating itself will, to some extent, reject that that from that chemical
absolutely.
itself. So where you don't have to totally go through and re-wax your boat, lack for a better term, just
Hmm.
because you had to black streak or something like that. That's
Yeah.
I've had people that would have asked me questions before. We get a lot of really bad black streaks around here. What do I
Yep.
do? And
The water staining.
yeah, and what most people don't know is black streaks is just from contamination in the air. There's really not much that you can do. You'll notice it's more prominent around people that are by industrial areas or airports or things like that.
Hmm.
You'll see it that it's really bad. And normally the only way to remove black streaks is utilizing a high pH chemical, such something like Simple Clean or anything
Hmm.
along the lines of that. It's going to be high pH to strip that. But the problem
It's
is,
just
if
going to strip
you're
the wax and polymer.
yeah, so if you're using like a polymer or something like that, it's just going to strip it away. So the best thing to do is if you have a ceramic coated boat and you got to utilize Simple Clean, well, it's chemical resistant, so you
Hmm.
don't need to go back and put another layer of ceramic on it. Simply
Yep.
remove those black streaks, top it up with replenish, and move on.
Finish too. I mean, it's that's my new favorite stuff. I've been
Yeah.
using that on everything. I've actually started using it on my truck too, and it's great. It's
Oh yeah.
awesome stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's super easy. We like to call it liquid gold, but to
Hmm.
continue on to those that are having challenges with black streaks, one thing that you can do is if you're not ceramic coating and you're more of a polymer based sealant person, is you can utilize a product called Revolution, which is a cleaner wax. So simply what you're doing
Hmm.
is you'll be removing those black streaks and leaving behind a sealant at the same time. Granted, it's not going to deliver the same type of protection that you're going to get with a standalone like Hyperhold Pro or any other polymer based sealant that you choose. But that's generally a pretty quick fix, as well as those people that are out there that have those diesel boats that get that real bad soot around the exhaust
Oh
area.
yeah.
Yeah, you can put ceramic on there, and ceramic will work. But I would tell you that just the chemicals alone from the soot and stuff starts to eat and deteriorate away. So
Hmm.
maybe you get 3 to 5 months out of it max.
Hmm.
I honestly think Revolution again is probably going to be the best tool in your toolbox to really help maintain those areas, because they just can be just so difficult. You can't do anything on how the engine runs. You know what I mean? If how much soot it's putting
No,
out there.
absolutely. I have a lot of clients that sit in these boat yards and it's just covered all over their metals, all over the glass. It's like a thick black layer, and you have to like almost polish it off. So
Yeah.
yeah, Revolution would be good for that stuff too. And my
Have you
maintenance
tried
clients like,
Revolution before?
no,
It's okay.
I'm sorry, that's the one product I haven't used yet. I pretty much have
That's
used everything in the line, but no, I have not used
no.
Revolution or Restructure. Those are actually two. Those are two that I have to find out about.
That's
But yeah, sometimes I do like with a polymer sealant client. So I've actually seen polymer sealant last 8 months on a fountain, heavy fisherman's boat. Actually, I was really impressed. I asked him. I said, I came back to the boat and I said, "Hey, you're cheating on me, buddy. Somebody detailed your boat." He's like, no, that's still from the hyper hold that you put on it before.
Yeah.
And so it's great stuff. It lasts a long time, but sometimes I'll see some of the black staining on top of the hyper hold.
Sure.
And I notice, and after I hyper hold it though, it comes right off. Once it's cleaned and with the right stuff, it comes right off.
Hmm.
Versus a dry gel coat surface or somebody that used, 3M or something on it. It's not gonna, you have to like almost use a magic eraser to get it off and repolish over it to get it, completely out. So but yeah, that black streaking is not
No,
it's not great, but the
it's
polymer
no,
helps.
it's never fun. And then you do a lot of work on lifts too, right? Boats that are on lifts.
Raft
So
work,
do you
yeah.
do you charge a premium for that versus if it's on the hard or on a trailer?
Yes, I charge $5 a foot extra. If we're getting in the water, if we're getting on raft work,
Is that
yeah, it
per
jumps up
step?
that $5 a foot. No, that's just to do the exterior. I mean, it depends. If I might go up $10 a foot if we're doing a sanding as well. Well, obviously
Hmm.
I'm charging for the sanding, but if we're doing, a 3-layer sand with a heavy cut with a polish, two polish layers, so yeah, I go up accordingly, but typically it's just about $5 a foot extra.
Do you enjoy doing float work?
No, it's literally the worst thing. I'm actually starting to think maybe of subcontracting and sending out my raft work, but we get down there and do it. I have my detailer. He knows he volunteers every time we need raft work. He's like, "You want me to get down there?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then halfway through, I'm like, "Actually, let me at her. Hold on." So I always say I don't like doing it, but I always end up doing it. Yeah. So
I'm trying to recall. I think it was you, and correct me if I'm wrong if it wasn't, but I swore I saw like an Instagram post of somebody on a float and they were floating away and they had to kind of like paddle back.
oh, which video? Oh, yeah, that's me all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, no. I literally actually one time, actually it's really funny. We just talked about the black tide water.
Yeah.
It was on the major inlet. It was on the edge of a major inlet. So I mean boats were flying by. It wasn't even a no wake zone. So boats are flying by. I'm on a raft. My raft actually I had to tape because I popped my solstice. So it still had a little leak in it.
Yeah.
Before you know it, I'm behind the motors trying to do the outside of the boat and the waves are pushing me up underneath. The raft is losing air. So I'm basically swimming like it's like a noodle in between my legs, the raft. I'm trying to detail. It's just dangerous. I've actually almost broke my leg by a big wave coming in and pushing me up under the boat, So, because you got to get under that water line, I get everything that's visible.
Right.
So we have to bring it up. And then if the waves come in and also the tide, if you get back from your lunch break and say, hey, okay, now it's time for raft work, and the tide really dropped, or it really rose, it's hard to do the raft work all the time, especially with like today is 35-mile-an-hour wind gusts. It's not fun.
Yeah,
Not
no,
fun.
it's definitely blown. Are you using suction cups and stuff like that when you're doing float work or
Yes, I actually, my detailer actually just found some new suction cups that we've been meaning to try out. I did try the suction cups for a little while, the little shower door handle suction cup looking things. But the problem I was running into is the curvature under the keel and the bow. So the
yeah,
curvature, I couldn't hold it on. I have to put it really low or really, yeah, it's just in the front half of the boat. It's hard to get those to stay. So I have actually someone personally walk me around. It's pretty much a two-man job for me. I've seen other detailers where they tie off 4 different lines for stability. That's great and all, but I don't know how everyone's tying off at the same time. I have someone personally hold me in on all the ropes, walk me around it and such, because I just find it's easier, than having to retie every section. So,
no, that would make sense. I know that there's some out there that are definitely pretty sharp on the float and some that are not so sharp. So I guess you're gonna fall underneath that category, not so sharp, huh?
not so sharp. I really don't, yeah, I don't enjoy it because you're using a lot of core work and you're usually on your knees. So you're using a lot of upper body and a lot of core work to stabilize yourself as you're applying pressure with a DA or something. So, you definitely, it's not easy and I do not like it. So, but we get it done, takes a
So
little longer.
where do you see Wavy Girl Detailing in the next 5 years?
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I am working on expansion right now, so I want to build a team of about 10 to 15 people. I am probably going to have my shop, which I'm working on next. I just have to find one with a good clearance store. So I'll have my shop, I'll have my team, and then I actually am going to venture off into a clothing line that's all water sport clothing and sunglasses and hats and bathing suits and stuff like that, water shoes, all such like that. So I definitely want to expand it into different things with the Wavy Girl name. But I definitely want to keep the business growing on the detailing aspect. And who knows, maybe one day come out with my own product line, but I see all the work you guys put in and I'm like, I don't know if I want to. That's a lot, it's a huge step. So maybe a product line, but for now, definitely a bigger team, maybe a couple different locations and a clothing line for now.
So I have to ask you, I've asked every single detailer that's been on so far. If you only had the option to have five
Mhm.
pads only, what five pads are you choosing?
Money pad number one. Obviously, money pad's a go-to. You got to have the money pad. White wool, yellow wool, purple wool when I
Mm,
use my ignition. I like my purple wool.
yep.
And then my black waxing pad. So definitely, and one of my favorites of those, the money pad is pretty much my go-to for polishing. I do use the orange Lake Country pad from time to time. When
Yeah.
the money pads, if certain different surfaces, I use it to get
Agreed.
in different crevices and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely say the white wool, yellow wool, money pad, purple wool, and the black waxing pad.
I'd have to agree with a lot of those choices. It's funny more and more that we continue to have people on. It seems to be pretty similar answers, and that's why
Hmm.
like find it funny. And those of you that are listening, the podcast prior, I had Rick from Buff and Shine, which is a pad manufacturer, and he even went on and says, "Hey, can I make hundreds of different pads?" And honestly, is like you can get away with probably just three of them. So a
Hmm.
lot of times it's up here in our minds. So what pad, works the most. But I think overall, through at least the people that we speak to, it seems to be pretty common on the pads. I would encourage you though to try that new purple
I
haze
was gonna
pad
say.
though.
I was gonna say, please let me know what pad I did not include, and I do look forward to using the Purple Haze pad. I am
Yeah,
actually going to purchase one of those and try it with the Blaze. Super
yeah.
excited about that.
Oh, try
But
with
as far
Elevate.
as and Elevate. Oh, so Elevate's my go-to. Elevate is actually one of my favorite products of your guys's. Definitely Elevate and Venom and Sub Level R. I really love all of them, but definitely want to try the purple pad. And as far as the yellow pad.
Hmm.
You taught me about the yellow pad when we did the certification. And the yellow pad, I call it turning on the lights. Because,
Yep.
those scratches and everything, it might look shiny, but when you hit it with that elevate and that yellow pad, it is night and day. And it's something you can't really achieve with any other pad combo I've come to find. So that was the secret that I was missing. One of those things I overlooked that I didn't know about until you guys told me about it. I am so grateful for that combo.
Yeah, no, no. It just works. I always say it separates a good detailer from a great detailer. It's like, you
Mm-hmm.
know, you could simply do that three-step process in the same time it takes you to do a two-step a lot of times because that
Mm-hmm.
yellow wool is just doing all that heavy work. And when you come through with your polish, it's a
Mm-hmm.
quick buzz. You're not really trying to dig out those scratches with your DA. You know what I mean? You're just
Yeah.
changing that scratch pattern from that yellow wool to make sure there isn't any holograms or rotary marks left behind.
Yes. And I think that's where the depth comes from, the depth and the clarity, because you can look and once you run
Yeah.
the level R on the white wool, it's shiny and everything, but you can't really see your reflection all that great until you hit it with that yellow wool, and it's night and day.
So, what advice would you give to future female detailers or marine detailers out there that are looking to get in the industry?
Definitely go in. The biggest thing I could say, which I told my brother when he started, is just dive in. Don't half-ass it. Don't, try to do, a wash here and do something there. And if you're really passionate about it and you dive in, you're guaranteed almost to be successful. If you're cut out for it and you do have that passion and you're like a sponge where you just want to learn, you're going to succeed. And there's a lot of money in this industry. So I would say don't give up. You're going to fail a couple times. I mean, I don't know any detailer that hasn't failed at least at something. That's how we learn.
Yep.
But don't be afraid of failing and don't be scared to try new things if you know it's safe. Obviously don't try something that would damage the gel coat, but definitely be open to all of the stuff that's coming out. Like you said, the new technology and everything we have to keep up with. We're not just running rotaries and 3M anymore. You have that old timer come through the marina and they're like, "Oh, I detail for $20 a foot and I've been detailing all my life." Okay, well, there's a lot newer stuff that you haven't probably researched or followed. So definitely
Yep.
keep up with the new technology. Don't be scared and just dive in.
I like it. And for anybody out there that's listening that wants to reach Hannah, how do they find you?
Instagram is the best. I do have my business on Google Business. Working on building my website. I have Instagram for Wavy Girl Detailing. That's Hannah underscore Wavy Girl Detailing or Wavy Girl underscore Detailing on Instagram. Facebook, same thing. And then I have my business on Google Business. So
Excellent. Well, Hannah, again, I always appreciate talking with you. I appreciate you coming on and being the first female to decide to jump in here. And hopefully you encourage the rest of the ladies to feel free to share their stories as well, because I think it's important for everyone to know how hard you ladies work out there amongst these men. And, definitely keep up the
yeah.
good work. I really appreciate everything you've done for the industry so far. I look forward to seeing where your business is going to be in the next 5 years.
Man, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And all the direction that you guys have given me, all the support, all the help. I really, truly appreciate it because I would not be here if it weren't for y'all. I wouldn't have known, half the stuff that I do. And you guys have been very supportive, very helpful. So thank you. And yeah, I love seeing women in the industry. So keep going, y'all. I love to see it.
There's a lot of them out there. So
Hmm.
again, we want to hear your voices, ladies. So feel free to reach out to me. And again, anybody else listening and you feel like you want to share a story, you got an interesting story, feel free to reach out to me directly and let's see if we can have you on the podcast as well. But with that, Hannah, I appreciate you. And for those of you out there, make sure that you continue to listen on all our platforms, Spotify. You can watch this on YouTube as well. You can watch it on Spotify if you got the video. So you can see Hannah hanging out behind there with that 35-foot statement. But with that,
Yeah.
we'll see all of y'all on the next one.
Thanks so much for having me.